I've been asking everybody that I've been speaking with for the past few weeks, ever since this fight was officially announced. Dustin Poirier's final fight, The Last Dance, is booked. Fighting Max Holloway. The man that Max Holloway debuted against is the man Dustin Poirier will end his career against. BMF title on the line in New Orleans. Very big deal. And I know you have stories and favorite moments of Dustin Poirier. You could probably write a book about him, John, but favorite Dustin Poirier moment? Is there a favorite Dustin Poirier story, a conversation you had? Like when I say, John, tell me about Dustin Poirier, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
I remember when the Fightville DVD crossed my cubicle desk at ESPN in the early 2000s, right around 2007 or so. I'm not sure there's a man who's a better personification of what it takes to evolve from very little to become an elite UFC fighter. In terms of in octagon moments, the second round against Dan Hooker inside the UFC Apex during a global pandemic is something that I will never forget. And really, that fight in totality, I think if you're looking at a Dan Hooker or Dustin Poirier fight that's going to go into the Hall of Fame, that would be the one for me. But the crowning moment, and my call, I believe, said something like Dustin Poirier has knocked out Conor McGregor, right? Need I say more? I remember being at the Residence Inn, and again, this was January of 2021. We're all getting ready to charter a flight on Etihad Airways to Abu Dhabi to Fight Island, and just feeling like Dustin was a little bit tense, and nothing tense about him when he knocked out Conor McGregor and gave himself financial freedom on the most fateful night of his career. So, yeah, I mean, for those that sort of planted their flag on Dustin Poirier and anointed him as their favorite fighter early on, you couldn't have sort of aligned with a better guy just in terms of the person, the fighter, and yeah, just an absolute dog. I think of him in a red hat that just says war, and honored to call his final dance.
Growing up in the UFC and growing up in the sport, I've always watched Dustin Poirier, and I think that he's a class act from all the way around, from the way he fights and then the way he carries himself. And um it's just really cool to see, and it's been an honor to be able to be on a card with him, and I think that all of the fighters that are um before me, I try to take whatever I can from them and just learn as much as I can. So I don't know if I have a favorite fight. I just think that he's one of the fighters I've always watched and paid attention to, just because of who he is, how he fights, and what you can see what really matters to him. And it's just really cool to watch him.
Great person and humble man, all my fight his favorite fights, I when I watch his fight, he's always enjoying to me. Like 2 weeks ago or three, I watched his fight against Max Holloway, like the second fight. Bro, this was fucking war. Amazing fight. uh and I expect that in the next fight, the final his fight will be the same, like the maybe fight of the year, the stand up and exchange punch, crush the face, a lot of blood. And yeah, bro, I am happy that I meet him in my wave. He always pulling me up. I learn every time from him, like the training, lifestyle, be good guy in the life. I spend with him a lot of time. We talk a lot of good things. Yeah, I am happy, and for sure I will fly to his fight in fight against Max Holloway. I will cheering him, and I hope he get the BMF belt, and he go to happy retire, happy life, and he spend time with his family. He deserves everything what is the best in the life. He's the people champ. Everybody love him. UFC love him. So his career is amazing, and I chase him his way.
Wow, yeah. I mean, he's just such an inspiring figure for me. Personally, there's two. Like one is pretty easy, and the first is really like as it fighting is a solo sport, but you need training partners. You're in a gym, you have coaches, you have a team behind you, and it can feel really, really lonely at times. But I will say that Dustin is he's a leader. You know, I remember crying on the mat and him saying, "You're right where you're supposed to be, Kayla Harrison." Like just simple, not like get up or come on or rah rah. You know, he'd just look over at me. We're both sweating, we're both bleeding, we're both in the grind, and he just says, "You're right where you're supposed to be, Kayla Harrison. Let's go." And it seems so small, but yeah, he was right. He is right. And for me, the big fight was when he won the title off Max in Atlanta. I flew up to that fight with Dan Lambert, the owner of ATT. So I got to like hop on the jet, and we like flew up. I think it might have been my first time on the jet. So I was like really stoked about it. And then, yeah, I got to watch him go out there and win a belt. And I was so, I was so inspired by that. Like the crowd, like just the atmosphere, the energy, the crowd. It was very nostalgic to me I went to China in 2008 to be Rhonda's training partner when she won her bronze medal in the Olympics. And I remember watching her get her medal and being like, holy shit, like I trained with her. She can do this. I can do this. And that was kind of the feeling I had when Dustin won. Well, I was like, holy shit, like I train where he trains. He can do this. I can do this. And yeah, I'm about to go do it.
As far as favorite moments go, you gotta love his fight with Dan Hooker. Of course, everybody's gonna bring that one up. It's an unbelievable fight. I think that for me, something that I'll say, his fight with Jim Miller was one that I really loved. Just kind of seeing him battle through adversity. He got kicked in the leg a bunch of times and able to fight through that and end up, coming out on top. That's a fight that I think that was unbelievable. And he's a guy that just exudes toughness and grit and belief. And, he goes in there with his whole heart on his sleeve. So we'll miss him, but he's had an amazing career and he's given a lot to the sport.
Maybe his fight with Dan Hooker, that was just a rock'em sock'em fight. And then I forget which round it was. He was just like, he looks over at Hooker and he goes, "You having fun yet, Dan?" I was like, fuck. This is just psychotic. You know what I mean? He's a special type of cat. And I don't know for sure if I believe that this is going to be his last fight. I think it really just depends on how it goes. I know he's got a newborn kid now, so maybe that will change some things, or they're expecting or something like that. So with that said, I think depending on how the performance goes, I mean, if he goes out there and he dominates Max Holloway, I think that conversation, that door is still open, especially now that the belt is vacated at 155.
Everyone kind of gravitates like to watching him. He trains maybe a little bit later sometimes than we do. So like when I do anyway. So like I've already sparred by the time he started. And I feel like quite a lot of people will just kind of gravitate towards where he is and want to watch him because just the way he moves, like the athlete that he is, he's just very natural. You can just see the experience that like we were watching. My brother's over here now because he always comes and helps me at the end of my camp. And when I'd finished sparring the other day, we were both kind of just watching him. We were just like, you can just see he's just done this forever. Like the way he moves, the way he like spars, it's just different. It's just on a different level. So I haven't really spoke to him too much personally, but I definitely do watch a lot of his training when he's in and working with Mike Brown, and you can just see the levels for sure. I'm excited. I'm gutted that it's going to be his last one. I hope he says it's his last one and then comes back again and just.
It is MMA. It is very possible.
Exactly. Everyone says they're going to retire and then they come back, right? So hopefully he does that again.
Retiring is always when I watch retiring. I always mad little without a little sad because I know how it's. When you fight a long time, all life, and when you have to retire it, you have to finish with that. I think for everybody, for all of these fighters, this is something like mad, sad moment, And I always, when I hear that, the guy who I know him long time. I see him almost all of his fights. I watched on the live, and so it's just like I understand, like generation and generation. There's some people coming, some coming new fighters. somebody upgrade, somebody like me, like maybe next 2-3 year, I'm the next who the retired, you know. It's just I'm start to thinking about my career, you know. Yeah, so a little sad about that because he's also legend, you know. He's a guy who stay in the top long time. Yeah, but fight with Max, that's good. That's good. It's big fight for him. And last fight, well, it's so good. I just don't want to, like, you know. Always when guy fight last time, I don't want to I don't like it when guy fights when somebody fight last time and lost like badly, you know. I just want to he show good fight. He really enjoy and like nothing bad damages, all of that stuff, you know.
100%.
One of my favorite was him against Dan Hooker. I think that was a brawl. Of course, he's beat Max Holloway twice. I think that's a feat on its own. I mean, Max Holloway just seemed so immortal at the time. The Conor McGregor fight, what he did to Conor was just epic. You know, the dude just fought everybody. I don't know if we fought on. I think he came in 2011. I don't remember if it was 2011 or 2012. I know me and Max Holloway, we actually had our debut on the same day.
Oh, no, good.
UFC 143. Yep. Me
He
and Max Holloway.
he fought Dustin, right?
Yeah,
His debut?
I think that. Yeah. And so I think that was pretty cool. But I think those were my favorite ones of his. Was the Dan Hooker. That was just a brawl. And of course, what he did to Conor McGregor was dope. So I've always been a huge fan of Dustin Poirier, man. He's been there, been in the game for a long time. He's a veteran. He's fought some of the who's of the division and just been there, man. I love it. I love to see him, you know, take that path out. And I wonder what he's going to do afterwards. You know, is he still going to be an ambassador for the UFC? He's going to do any kind of analyst work? Like, I'm not sure. We'll see.
You and Poirier on the desk would be
Let's go,
pretty
man.
damn good combination right there.
I think it would be fun.
It's always been nothing but positive vibes when I run into him, you know, during fight weeks. You know, if we message on Instagram or something, it's always positive. The guy has the heart of a champion. He's really got a golden heart. He's an amazing person. I think, you know, he does a lot for the community. He seems like an amazing father. He's put on nothing but entertaining fights for us. You know, I couldn't be more happy for him to, you know, to go in there and fight his last time, but you know, he's left us with a lot of fights. We can go back and look at, you know, every single Dustin Poirier fight, and I don't think that any of us can name one fight that we're like, that was boring, you know. He's an absolute legend. I would consider him a Hall of Famer. You know, so nothing but like love and respect for that for him, and I know that he's going to go out there against Max Holloway, who's also just as tough and just as exciting. And we're gonna have, you know, it's going to be an exciting day for UFC fans around the world.